Season 6 of Overwatch 2 has officially started, and boy, is it a busy season. So much has changed, from general quality of life updates, such as the practice range updates and the upcoming hero training, to the new support hero Illari, and the release of PvE missions. Yes, PvE is finally here. Kinda, not really, because it's not like the stuff they promised years ago, but it's still PvE, I guess? Anyway, here's the infographic of this season. You can pause it here if you want to screenshot it for later, as it's pretty handy to know what's happening and when. And this is the thing I'm going to be using to break down the season in this video. But first, I'm going to ask you to subscribe and leave a like on this video, as I want to continue making Overwatch 2 related content that's not only entertaining, but educational too. First things first, the stuff that's already out and available to play. The new game mode, Flashpoint, the new hero Illari, the new PvE missions, if you pay for them, but more on that later, the new changes to the practice range, and the new changes to the general progression in the form of the specific hero progression. The new game mode, Flashpoint, is kind of like Vegemite. You either like it or you don't like it. Me personally, I'm indifferent about it. The game mode, not Vegemite. I don't like Vegemite, but anyway, it's a pretty cool thing to have something like that in the game, especially coming from COD Hardpoint, because I used to play that a lot when I was younger. But the maps are so stupidly big, like bigger than the push maps. So the games take so long to finish because half of the match you're walking from point A to point B, unless you're getting absolutely destroyed or absolutely destroying the enemy team. If your team has an Illari, there's a chance that you are destroying the enemy team. Ah yes, Illari, the newest support hero in the ever-expanding roster of heroes. I'm gonna come out and call it now. She's definitely gonna get a nerf. Be it only a small one, it's probably gonna happen eventually. Her turret has 150 health and heals a fair amount of health with a 15 meter range fall off, which is really good when you use it around corners where your enemies can't destroy it. Her gun has two firing modes, a bit like Baptiste, where in her primary fire, she fires a single hit scan shot at a time that can be charged for more damage or spanned for quick finishes on the enemies, and in her secondary fire, she fires a heal beam like Moira's that's on its own meter. You can only heal so much before it runs out. She also has a jump ability, which is pretty handy to get to the high ground, and it also has knockback, so she's going to be an absolute pain in the ass on maps like Ilios Well and Lijiang Tower Garden, where you can get environmental kills like Lucio. Most importantly, her ult, Captive Sun, is absolutely insane. She basically becomes Oppenheimer and fires a big bomb from her gun, which does AoE damage and tags the enemies that it hits. Now that seems pretty good already, right? It seems pretty effective. But here's where it gets even better. After the enemies are tagged by the ult, if they take 90 damage, they explode and deal 120 damage to anyone around them. So naturally, it can cause a huge chain reaction if you tag everybody on the team. Yeah, that's definitely getting nerfed at some point. She's near enough the opposite of the last support hero, Lifeweaver, where Lifeweaver focuses a lot more on healing his team. She focuses a lot more on damaging the enemy team. At some point, I'll make a guide on her because I feel like she's going to be good for a while. This probably won't be too soon though. I'm not buying the battle pass with money. I can probably get it in like a week if I do my weekly challenges. Next thing to talk about is Invasion itself, the new PvE mode that we've been waiting 3 years for. Now, I haven't bought it because I ain't a sucker, plus I don't really care too much about it. There are better PvE games out there, so just play those. From what I've seen of it, from different YouTubers' playthroughs, it isn't worth buying. Do what I've done and watch someone else play it because you'll get near enough the same experience. Lore-wise, it's pretty good. The story is great and adds more depth to heroes that have been in the game for years, like Torbjorn's workshop and how he's been looking after Bastion after the war. Gameplay-wise though, it's pretty bleak. The only reason the difficulties are harder is because the revive times are slightly longer and the bots have more health. Try the free mission Underground on expert mode, trust me. I played it with a few friends and didn't even realize it was on a higher difficulty till it took us a little bit longer than usual to kill the bots. So overall, for $15, I say it's really not worth it. The only reason the missions can take you up to an hour to complete is because of the length of the cutscenes and how tanky the bots are depending on what difficulty you do the missions on. Now last but not least, in the stuff that's already available to play around with, is the improved practice range and the changes to account progression. These changes are great for new players as they show them what they should be doing and allow them to improve at the heroes they're learning. This is going to be even better in September when the hero missions come out, because those are going to cater much more to the hero's abilities and general kit rather than the basic game sense. The only problem is that there's only going to be missions for a select few heroes at first, but they'll add missions for every character eventually. In general though, these are really good changes. I'll give props to Blizzard for the first time in a while. It sucks that our old stats from the seasons before don't count towards the level progression of the different heroes, but it is what it is, I guess. I can't really be too mad about that. Finally, I'm going to talk about the things we can expect later on in the season, as there's upcoming events and things that aren't quite ready yet, but will be towards the midway point of the season. Now, as I mentioned before, the hero missions are going to be coming in September 8th to be specific. This is basically a series of tutorials for the different heroes in the game, showing you how to use their abilities. Unfortunately, there's only going to be missions for a select few heroes at first, but there will eventually be missions for every hero in the game, so you will be able to learn all of the different heroes at some point. Last but not least, the Overwatch anniversary event is making a return. Starting on September 15th, in the arcade, they'll be cycling old event game modes that we've seen in the previous seasons. Week 1 will be Battle for Olympus, Week 2 will be Star Watch, and Week 3 will be Mischief and Mayhem. Now, the event isn't much, but it's something to do for a few weeks. It's cool to see these old modes coming back to the game, but will I play much of them? No. Unless the rewards are really good, then I'll play them. But that sums up the entirety of Season 6. From what's available now to what's coming later on in the season. Overall, this season looks pretty damn good. The general changes to the account progression and the practice range are great for new players. The new game mode is pretty good, and the new hero is great once you know what her abilities are and what she's capable of. The only real gripe I have is that PvE mode is such a letdown in terms of the gameplay itself. It's just so bland and uninspired. Like I said before, lore-wise is great and gives more depth to the characters that have been in the game for a while. It just sucks that we've been waiting 3 years for this, and it's mediocre at best. And it's $15 to play 3 missions. What? You can get whole games for $15 in sales. Flats brought something up a while ago that I thought was actually really quite sad. He said that if the campaign is going to be the same length as other games, about 12 missions, then after paying for 4 packs of 3 missions, you'll be paying the same price that you'd pay for a new AAA rated game, $60. It's sad, but true, and that's why I'm going to be watching a playthrough of it instead of buying it myself, considering for $60 you can buy a game like Elden Ring that is skill-wise a lot more difficult than Overwatch, but lore-wise on the same level, if not even better. Anyways, that's the end of this video. Once again, I'm going to ask you to like the video, as it lets me know that you find these videos not only to be helpful, but entertaining. On Thursday, I'm going to be carrying on the hero guides that I've been doing weekly, but I'm not sure what guide yet, so comment below what kind of guide you want. It can be on a tank, it can be on a support, or it can be on a DPS. I'm not too sure yet, so I'll leave it up to you guys. Finally, have a nice day or night if you're watching this at night, and make sure to check out my other videos. Not only will I appreciate it, but you might too.